Shalom, family. This is BroProdigy, aka Well I Am Samuel, and I'm back once again with another installment. And this installment is titled You Cannot Escape a Matrix. You cannot escape a matrix. And I would like to actually share a quote, an original quote of mine, a favorite quote of mine, which is, "Man is not man unless he is bound to a receptive energy. And woman is not woman unless she is bound to an assertive force." Okay, remember that. That's really important. Now, first of all, let's start off by stating what the matrix is. What the matrix is. The matrix is a womb or a system in which cause and effect processes unfold within a closed system. Now, within a larger matrix, you can also have multiple smaller matrices. Now, each of these matrices, given enough time, will start to evolve. And I know that for those of you that follow these installments on a regular basis, you already know this, okay? And in a way, I'm probably just preaching to the choir, but this needs to be reinstated so that it really sinks in. This evolution of a matrix is a consequence of the unfolding of guided cause and effect processes throughout time. Okay, like for example, right? Someone commits a crime. Okay, then subsequently laws are enacted to prevent further expressions of the same crime or similar crimes. Okay, eventually evolving into a set grouping of laws called public policy or commandments. Period. A matrix is simply a multi-dimensional womb that houses various energy constructs and protocols. So-called inventions, discoveries, they're just what one becomes consciously aware of. It's what one finally realizes is possible, or that which can now be rightly understood. Remember, out of the darkness of the womb is where all things proceed from. We see others as three-dimensional avatars possessing a personality, likes, dislikes, and various other idiosyncrasies, okay, which carry and are susceptible to magnetic attraction. Consciousness permeates every atom in the body, and the shape of someone's nose or lips are the result of a subtle energy vibration or a culmination of subtle energy vibrations, which are responsible for, the nose looking a certain way and a person's ears looking a certain way, big hips, etc. It is the higher self that constructs all of these characteristics by way of the construction of energy. Okay, and really, let me break this down. Your higher self is the master builder. Your higher self is your builder. Your higher self is your own builder. Each gamer, quote unquote, is a segment of energy. And these segments of energy are as unique as a snowflake, for example. These segments of energy or individualized units of consciousness contain these nooks and crannies where energy cycles faster and slower in certain areas, you see. This difference between the rates of the cycling of energy is perceived as contrast, and contrast is perceived as dimension. So what you have is energy cycling at a certain rate, and that rate of electricity also carries a certain magnetism that attracts and binds its double in holy matrimony until death do you part. Okay, this is often called an etheric double. This is often called an etheric double. So your etheric double is like a you turned inside out. Okay, or the mirror image of you, quote unquote. Now, this etheric double consists of the same energy that animates your physical body and has the same architecture as your physical avatar also. Now, let me really give you an example. Let me break down, right? Take your shirt, for example. If you turn your shirt inside out, it's still your shirt. Okay? It still retains the same color, the same size, except when you turn it inside out, the stitches are visible now. And the lettering or the picture that was on the front of the shirt can't be seen by the same senses, but it's still there. It just cannot be seen. All right? You see what I'm saying? But it's the stitches that actually hold the entire shirt together, okay? It's what holds the fabric together. So what you see when you turn your shirt inside out are the stitches, or that which is responsible for holding the fabric of space together. You see? Consciousness is an assertive force and is only known to be or to exist within the womb of a receptive matrix. The womb of a woman can be seen as a receptive matrix. The womb of a woman can easily be seen as a receptive matrix that attracts an assertive force of consciousness that permeates this womb matrix. So it is out of the womb that actually energizes the rest of the woman, or the avatar of the woman, to attract an assertive force. So just the mere womb itself, within the womb itself, possesses the energy that actually attracts an assertive force, and then the subsequent avatar reacts based upon that energy that is within the womb. Okay, so it is the womb that is instrumental in creating, or is the catalyst to creating, this attraction. Okay, and as above, so below. Okay, this works on all levels. All right, from the microcosm to the macrocosm. Existence only becomes real, quote unquote, when expressed. All right, existence only becomes real when it's expressed. Okay, a matrix can exist theoretically anywhere. And not only can a matrix exist anywhere, everything that we interpret as being quote unquote real already exists within a matrix of some kind. All right. Now, they can vary from being fundamental to very highly complex. Matrices that have evolved over millions, if not billions of years, tend to be very complex, which also contain a plethora of highly evolved species. Okay, remember, it takes consciousness to create a matrix. So where there is not consciousness, there is no matrix. And the more advanced the conscious creator is, the more advanced the matrix becomes, with its potential directly corresponding to the potential of the consciousness within it. Okay, so when people say, because you might have even heard this before, when people say that when you talk about the aspect of God, you must directly relate that aspect of God to the men and women on the earth that are expressing things in now time jurisdiction, because it is that expression that actually demonstrates the characteristics of that which simply is, or that which simply exists, or that which simply bees, quote unquote. Okay, all right. So the aspect of time only exists in relation to consciousness. Okay, the aspect of time, or any aspect of, or any denomination of time, only exists in relation to consciousness, okay? Theoretically, when there is no consciousness interpreter, no matter how fundamental, there is no time, okay? Because time directly correlates with consciousness, or to consciousness, okay? So the question is, can we escape the matrix? And by matrix, I'm referring to the world in which we live, where you have to pay for water, housing, food, you need sleep, work, labor, etc. All of these things relate to your physical avatar and its sustainment, and very little has to do with your individualized conscious evolution. Okay, what you 90% or even 95 to 98% of what you labor for in this system is for the profit and or benefit of your avatar, and a very little percentage actually contributes to the evolution of consciousness, which is why evolution at the conscious level happens so slow and so incrementally. Okay, your avatar is what attaches you to this earth matrix and its lesser matrices within it. Okay, the sole purpose of these lesser matrices is to institute control. All right, they are designed to control, limit, or inhibit consciousness in some way. Okay, this is not to say that you cannot create your own matrix. However, if it falls under the jurisdiction, if your matrix falls under the jurisdiction, okay, let's just say you want to say, you say, fuck it, I want to just move out in the sticks and be by myself and build a home and just bring my children up apart from a capitalistic fascist aristocracy that's flooded with imperialistic ideology. You can do that, but if it falls under the jurisdiction of a previous matrix, or if it is created within a larger matrix, you would still have to submit and conform to at least the fundamental laws of the larger matrix that you created your smaller matrix within. Do you see? And the only way to destroy a matrix is to transmute or transmigrate the consciousness within it. Okay, so for example, you have our universe, which possesses certain laws, okay, certain immutable laws, right? Like let's just look at gravity. You know what I mean? The more mass an object has, the higher the gravitational pull at the base level. So we have to, since that is a law, a part of a larger matrix, the smaller matrices that we are governed by, whatever we create has to be according to the law of gravity. And everything that we create and all the matrices that we create have to act according to or in communion with the law of gravity. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. And the only way to destroy a matrix is to transmute or transmigrate the consciousness within it. All right. See, and also energy, it never really ceases to exist. It can slow to a point to where it's indistinguishable, or it can speed up to a rate to which it's also indistinguishable, but it never ceases to exist. It only transmutes or transmigrates or change, well, not really changes, but really assumes energy can assume or be looked at as assuming a different characteristic or a different property, but yet it's just the rate of the speed, okay, or a different vibration, an increase or a decrease in a certain vibration or a cycle. See, in dealing with also reincarnation, it must be understood that each soul is indestructible. So after one incarnation, the soul can incarnate within another avatar that could be quite possibly a different gender. Okay, it happens. It's common. All right, and it's more common than we would like to quote unquote believe. On this topic of reincarnation, some people say, "Well, I don't believe in that shit." All right, when it comes to reincarnation, I don't believe in that shit. Well, there are numerous case studies of many young children that actually remember their past lives up until the layering, of conscious paradigms. You know, when you're younger, it's easier for you to remember previous incarnations, okay? And because as you grow, as you get older, conscious paradigms, what you experience in waking life, cloud out your sensitivity to past experiences. You see, death is looked at as being dark, black, cold, etc. We have to strip ourselves from these false misconceptions. When what we perceive to be death and blackness is actually the avatar ceasing to render a certain reality, or ceasing to render a certain data stream for our higher mind. Okay, when you die, your avatar starts to shut down its ability to render data. So one sense after another shuts down, or all can shut down immediately or abruptly, like if you were in a car accident or any other fatal, or a victim of any other fatal shock trauma like a gunshot wound to the head, etc. This shutting down of sensory data is considered to be death. However, this definition was created by a species of beings, your receptives, that possess no spiritual understanding. Plus, it's also within their best interest to have you fear death. Okay? Because fear is a necessary tool used in the widespread belief of certain propaganda. When people fear, they usually conform. You fear and then you conform. You fear losing your job because you'll lose certain materialistic items in your life, so you conform to working 6 days a week, 7 days a week, or 5 days a week, 10-hour days, whatever the case may be. Okay, you fear loss, and then you usually conform. What are you fearing? What is the loss that you are fearing? You are fearing the loss of something materialistic. Okay, material. All right. So, based upon your fear of losing something of a materialistic nature, you conform. This is why terrorism is a hot button topic of the day. The propagandists keep terror in the forefront of your mind, keeping you focused on terror and protection. Okay? They keep you focused on terror and fear, and also what would be the remedy for that protection. Okay, so they give you these images of terror, these images that stimulate fear, the emotion of fear, and subsequently give you this quote unquote solution, which is protection. Okay, no matter how heinous it might be. All right, this is necessary in controlling a populace. All right, is fear, the institution of fear. So, in a sense, yes, the loss of your five senses will place your consciousness in a void. However, this void is a sea of energy potential, and within this void, consciousness still exists. Okay, the only difference is that it has no way to interpret anything. It just, like people love to label a God as, he just exists. Okay, you just, in this state, you just exist. You just are. You just be. Okay, because there is no way to interpret anything. It just exists. Information, You see, information must have a vehicle, a mode of transportation, a conduit to receive input and give output. But this state is the truest state of being. Okay? Speaking of purely existing. All right? Speaking of purely existing outside of an avatar, quote unquote. Since there is no input, your consciousness cannot be deceived or misled in any way. Okay, but on the other hand, your consciousness cannot express its uniqueness, mastery, wisdom, or anything else because it has no output channel. You see what I'm saying? So, the plethora of conscious energy that exists outside of an avatar exists as living potential in an intrinsically fundamental state. Once inserted into a matrix of any kind, this conscious energy begins to work through the input and output channels, okay, of the avatar via the interpretation of various data streams. Now, since all conscious individualized energies are not the same in relation to their power, the rate at which they cycle, otherworldly experiences, etc., numbers of incarnations. Since not all conscious individualized energies are the same, avatars were constructed by these various gods loosely. They were loosely constructed by these various gods to receive a plethora of different individualized consciousness energies. Okay, so your avatars that you see, people, men and women, etc., these avatars were loosely constructed to receive many different consciousness energies or constructs, okay? And to do this, these master masons had to construct avatars with certain base programs that run automatically in the event that a consciousness incarnates lacking fundamental knowledge of how to operate an avatar. Or, you see these in people that are handicapped, or they might have Down syndrome, etc. There are certain fundamental and automatic programs that run within the body that really help to buffer that handicap, okay? And this is why breathing is automatic. The absorption of energy while sleeping is automatic. Cellular regeneration is automatic. Like if you cut your hand on a steak knife in the kitchen or something, your avatar will start to regenerate the damaged cellular tissue that was traumatically affected. These base programs work to decrease the entropy of the whole, but individually can increase the entropy of an individual on a case-by-case basis by producing what's called an ego. Okay, that word ego. All right, ego is the byproduct of the spirit interacting and interpreting what reality is thought to be through the filter of the avatar's base programming and 5 sensory data. Now, can we escape the matrix? Can we escape the matrix? We cannot escape. Okay, excuse me. We cannot escape a matrix. Okay, we cannot escape being in a matrix. Okay, because wherever there is energy, which is everywhere, there is magnetism. Assertive principles bond with receptive vessels. So consciousness, which is one of the highest and most complex forms of energy structures in existence, is always going to be drawn or attracted to its corresponding reality via magnetism. Okay, magnetism. So, as long as assertive and receptive energies exist, so will a corresponding matrix dimension, etc., whatever you want to call it, okay? The only matrices that we can escape from are the ones that aren't powerful enough to bind to our conscious energy. Those that are powerful enough to bind to our conscious energy are those that we eventually interpret as the binding of our conscious energy immediately attracts our. So it's like this, right? It's like the you have various matrices, and some matrices aren't powerful enough to really bind us, okay, or bind to our conscious energy. But you do have those that are powerful enough that do have the ability through magnetism to bind to our conscious energy. And those that bind to our conscious energy are what we eventually interpret, okay? And what we interpret, we immediately focus our attention on, all right? And what we focus our attention on becomes our reality for that moment, you see? But there is also an option. There is also an option, which isn't popular, which is taboo, which is death. Okay, death is the ultimate third rail. Death is the ultimate gateway, though. Some say that it's the gateway to the unknown. I've heard people say that shit before. Some say death is the gateway to the unknown. But that's not true. Death is how you are known. All right? It's not the gateway to the unknown. Death is how you are known, because each incarnation is immortalized within a specific record of time. This is what people access when they're speaking of things like the Akashic records. By the way, the Akashic records, the Akashic record hall is a realm of the matrix, or a tier of the matrix that one can tap into to get certain bits of information. However, it can also be overwritten and changed, so not everything that is channeled from this segment of the matrix, your Akashic record hall, can be trusted either. So let me just put that shit out there too. So when you hear people talking about tapping into the Akashic records and getting channels from the Akashic records, know that you cannot always take that as the quote-unquote gospel, all right? The only reality that exists is the reality that exists to you, all right? Let me say that again, because that's important. The only reality that exists is the reality that exists to you and what it means to you. Because at the end of the day, if we are all just structures of energy interpreting data, the only thing that separates us is our imagination. Remember, there is no fucking spoon, okay? Everything is just data, and that which moves is yourself. You are the one taking all of these bits of information and arranging them in sequence, which ends up giving meaning to you, okay? To you. Some informational sequences are rearranged by you and then put together, creating abstract realities by you. This is the multi-dimensional capability that we can tap into by simply manipulating data or a data stream. Okay, and drugs have also been used to do this very same thing. Now, is there a purpose to life? Is there a purpose to life? And the answer is, if you think so, there is. If you don't think so, there isn't. I cannot tell you there's a purpose for your life. Okay? Just like you cannot tell me there's a purpose for mine. This is something that you must know within yourself or establish. People are not obligated to hold your hand and spoon feed you. You must define a purpose for your own life. Otherwise, your life will have no purpose. Your life will be the sum total of your job, your relationships, and situational experiences. Period. Okay? So remember, if you think there is a purpose, then there is a purpose to your life. If you don't think there's a purpose, then there isn't a purpose to your life. You define that as a generator, operator, and destroyer, as a God. Okay? Remember, in life, drastic times also call for drastic measures. Moving throughout life safely is easy, but doesn't really magnetize your soul very much. Okay? Now, can you escape from the matrix? Some matrices require a diversion or a shift in conscious attention away from something, while other stronger matrices, which are just energetic constructs, require death in order to liberate the consciousness and transmute it. All right? But overall, there's always a choice. If not in the beginning, in the end. If not in the end, in the beginning. You just have to be willing to acquire as well as sacrifice. So, once again, I am Brother Prodigy, aka I Am Samuel, and today's date is December 19th, 2015, and the title of this installment, once again, is You Cannot Escape a Matrix. All right? If you have any, don't hesitate to hit that like button. Don't hesitate to add a comment, subscribe if you feel led to, and also get my book, which is also on Amazon, or you can message me and I can get you an autographed copy of the book called Gnosis of a God, Gnosis of a God, which is available right now on Amazon. Pick that up if you would like to do so. Or, like I said, you can message me and get an autographed copy of the book, as well as some other goodies that I've been giving out as well. So, and I've also gave out free Kindles too. So I've also given out free Kindles that have my complete ebook library on them. So I've also been like the people that have personally like sent me messages. I've thrown in so many different treats and things and given out copies of books that I've read and that have, are important to me. So yeah, just hit me up. But once again, thank you all for listening. I know you could have been doing so many other things right now, but thanks for listening, and don't hesitate to subscribe. Shalom, Hotep.